Bonjour everyone, Pantoufleee here today for a new video in which we're going to discuss a little bit about some juicy infos Wargaming posted on their Discord server, because today we take a look at 3 new tanks, collectible or premiums, we don't know yet, aka the Kampfpanzer 50T, the Super Hellcat, and finally the Broten Panther. Let's go. The first tank we gotta talk about, guys, is the Kampfpanzer 50-ton, which is basically a tier 10 premium E50M. Let me explain myself. It seems like Wargaming wants to add more and more premium tanks at tier 10, especially reward tank from campaign in World of Tanks PC. Because when you take a look at World of Tanks PC, the main rewards are the Object 260, Object 907, and the brand new Kampfpanzer 50-ton that have been implemented, if I'm not mistaken, in the latest campaign Wargaming was running on World of Tanks PC. And now those tanks are exporting themselves to World of Tanks Blitz because, yeah, we finally have it as well. Not necessarily right now, don't worry, the tank is not going to drop until maybe 8.1 or something like that update, because if Wargaming just announced it right now, it will take them at least 3 months for them to be able to render the tank properly, to give it the proper statistics, etc. Which means and implies that we don't have access to the statistics yet, but I can give you some kind of a profile concerning that tank. So we're going to start off with the armor profile. This is the Kampfpanzer 50-ton armor profile, and as you can see, it seems quite armored, at least at the front. As I told you, it's an E50M premium, and I'm gonna prove it to you right now. First thing first, to notice how angled the upper part of the hull is, which means that you can climb up to quite a lot of millimeters of armor. 300 all around, and for the turret, it seems impenetrable as well, as long as you don't use gold shells, because when you switch to gold, I think it's gonna be easy for you to penetrate this area of the tank, because it's really round. Let's say it's rounded, but not rounded enough for it to make it impenetrable. This is something to take into consideration. And one last thing that you don't necessarily see on the photo Wargaming posted, this tank features some kind of a weird turret at the back here, which is extremely easy to penetrate. And I think that in most cases, this is going to be kind of the, let's say, the cupola kind of the tank if you don't manage to penetrate the turret. So one thing to notice about it, how awesome it's going to be on hilly terrains, because you feature 8 degrees of gun depression, and when you use all of them, this part becomes impenetrable, and it makes it even harder for enemies to penetrate your turret. So this tank is going to be effective in hull down as always, and it seems like all the tanks Wargaming are releasing right now are hull down, are made for hull down. One weak spot, the lower part of the hull, and for the rest of the tank, it's a medium, so obviously that you're going to penetrate quite easily, even with HE, so make sure with this tank to only show the front. Now, guys, based on what I gathered from World of Tanks PC, this is what you can expect from it. 60 km/h maximum top speed, which makes it quite a good mobility, to be honest, I'm not going to blame that. It's an in-between, between a Leo 1, I would say, and an Object 140, which makes it in the top mobility at tier 10. For the rest, 310 alpha damage gun, because you are featuring a 105mm gun, and finally a bad DPM. That's how Wargaming tried to balance the tank, at least in World of Tanks PC, because if you take a look at its profile in World of Tanks PC, yes, you have a great mobility, yes, you also have quite a lot of armor, but you have to pay it by having one of the lowest DPMs for the 105mm gun, featuring something like 2.3, 2.4k DPM, which is definitely not enough considering this tank is a medium one. Hopefully, we'll see how it performs in Blitz, but if Wargaming does that, that would be the first time in the history of World of Tanks Blitz that we have a tank at tier 10 that features great armor, great mobility, and a bad DPM, having a 105mm. So I'm quite excited just to see how this tank will perform and to see how World of Tanks Blitz is gonna do with the statistics of this tank. Are they gonna make it completely different from World of Tanks PC or not? Let the future tell us. The second tank we gotta talk about, guys, is something we have to get excited about, because oh boy, is it something really good. It's the Super Hellcat, which is basically an upgraded version of the already existing Tech 3 Tier 6 American tank destroyer, the Hellcat, but 1 tier higher. So you could expect this tank to perform exactly like the traditional Hellcat, but with better stats, obviously, because it's 1 tier higher. So you could expect an amazing gun, and really I want to insist on that. I think the gun on this thing is going to be completely broken, featuring really no armor at all, because we all know how the Hellcat performs. It's getting penetrated by pretty much everything. So with this tank, be careful when you're encountering any smasher around. And finally, a great mobility, so probably it will perform like a medium on the battlefield, featuring also an amazing gun dispersion, allowing you to be versatile on whatever map you're playing on. So yeah, definitely something to be excited about, and oh boy, is it my case. Finally, guys, the least interesting out of all the tanks I'm going to present to you right now, the Broten Panther, which is basically a Panther lowered down to tier 6, aka a VK3002M. It's going to be just a reskin of the tank I'm going to show you right now that is already available in World of Tank Blitz. When I put it like that, you see some similarities, aren't they? Because it's the exact same tank, but reskin. Expect the Broten Panther to be exactly like this tank, but maybe with one or two statistics that are gonna be that will allow you to different each other, but overall those are the exact tanks. So if you want to check the statistics, you have an average gun, a good armor, and a good mobility. So basically a Panther at tier 6. Nothing else to say about it. Let's jump into some more interesting news. We continue the series, guys, because finally Wargaming revealed, and it's done right now, the whole line for the M6Yo. And the latest they discovered, or at least the latest they showed us, is the M3Yo. So now we have the M3Yo, the M5Yo, and the M6Yo. I don't know where the M4Yo is. Maybe it didn't exist. We don't know, and we will never know, but who cares? At least we know what it looks like. All we know for the moment from Wargaming concerning that tank is that it features the exact same hull as the tier 10. Maybe they are going to lower down a little bit the armor of it to make it balanced in some ways. It's going to feature an auto reloader as well, auto loader, sorry, same as the M6Yo, the tier 10. And it should have one of the strongest armor profile in the game based on what it looks like, but also based on the statistics Wargaming is putting on the M6Yo. You still have a little cupola there, which will allow you to penetrate the tank if you really struggle, but featuring 10 or 12 degrees of gun depression on this thing, don't expect to see the cupola quite often, especially if the guy knows how to angle. But that's cool that Wargaming is finally showing us all the branch, and if they are, it means that the tank will eat the game pretty soon. So maybe expect it for the 8.0 update. And finally, you're not dreaming, guys, finally, Wargaming gave us a legendary camo on the Jagdpanzer. And not only did they give us this camo, they made it beautiful, historical, and I love it. See, Wargaming, this is the kind of things we want when we talk about legendary camouflage. Here, it really looks German. It really gives us the World War II vibe. And this is lovely. Why can't you put more camos like that? And with it comes the attachment, the same as the one we have on World of Tank PC. It seems like instead of having the bike on the side of the tank, we have a bear, but still, this is good. And it's gonna change the name of the tank to Jagdpanzer Mighty, which is quite a good name, and it's easier to say than Jagdpanzer E100 in my opinion as a foreigner. So yeah, thank you for that, Wargaming. I think we have done, I'm done talking about all the leaks, infos I could gather and I could share with you guys. If you enjoyed, feel free to subscribe, like, and share, and I'm gonna see you soon for a new video. Bye.